On the 17th of November, EventHuddle returned to 1 Wimpole Street for its monthly topical debate about the UK events industry. This month saw the panel debate the issues surrounding events accessibility for the very first time, and how event management teams can ensure everyone in attendance has the best possible experience. Panellists included Rachel Quick from charity Scope About Disability and Simone West, accessibility consultant from Atkins Global, as well as Head of Venue Operations at Roundhouse Trust, Mark Butler. The panel was also joined by hotel and venue accessibility expert and champion Kripen Dhrona, who is now Marketing Communications Officer at national charity, the British Polio Fellowship.
You will get the best results if you put it into policy, you put it into strategy, you have the right people in place asking the right questions. Inclusive design doesn't need to be this add-on expense. If you integrate it before you get going and you understand what you're doing, and of course once you do that, it then can be repeated the next time. So there's a good learning curve, but it has to be thought of at the beginning.
Yeah. What we need to think about is having the full team aware of accessibility issues. So often you find that people at managerial level or high level are fully aware of issues around accessibility, but the people actually working on the day on the ground are not so aware and sometimes cannot be as helpful as they should be. So it's making sure that the full team is aware of issues and are prepared to help out wherever possible. So I think that's a very important thing.
I think there's a real problem with sort of the disabled guests or the accessible part of the element being different in feel and structure to that of a non-disabled guest. So, for instance, like you can go to a venue and they'll be like, yeah, we're accessible. If you're disabled, you go round the back and then you sort of go all the way through the building, through the bathrooms, and then you're at the event. And it's just not a similar experience. And I think the way to be as fair as possible is to make sure that everyone's experiences are the same, or they're never going to be exactly the same, but are as close to being the same as possible. So for me, it's about changing what we think about when we say accessible. We don't mean that disabled people can get in. We mean disabled people can enjoy the event in the same way as other people can.
The most common barriers you have to start thinking about is things like moving around the building, stairs, narrow corridors, ramps not being adequate. Next thing is lifts was the second highest. Lifts and escalators are appropriate. Difficulty with approach areas. So I said about the ramps, handrails being at the right level, that sort of thing. Parking problems is always a big issue. So you'll find a venue for 500 people will have 2 accessible spaces or something. So often doesn't meet the needs if you've got many people coming.
Yeah. They can, at the point of RSVP, be asking people to let them know. They can consult with the venue. Each venue will have an access policy. We are rarely asked for hours. We've got our web page that the events industry rarely will refer people to, and we have a whole kind of detail of what we can offer. There are savings that can be made. We have provisions in place. We have hearing enhancement systems. We have all of our lifts. We have contacts that are BSL interpreters. We can get captioning in. There's services that we already provide that we can help out with, but often they're just not asked about. They would rather build something in front of all of those procedures to make sure that it looks all right. And it's frustrating.
Do you think
We have an aging population. Often disabilities are connected with older people as well. So I just think it's essential that that bar is keeps rising, and we don't become complacent. We don't forget these issues, and we continue to strive to promote best practice and highlight best practice in the industry.